big announcement. We were riding with my wife, and she says, why don't you just get an RV and take it on the road as a moving model museum? And I was like, great idea.
I was only kidding.
No backsies. Well, hello, Glue Troopers, and welcome back to the Tarbus, where I've been working and sweating a good chunk of the day. Although I did have a doctor's appointment, which is going to come into play in just a second. I had to go to the eye doctor, where I came out looking absolutely dégueu. But unfortunately, with, they dilate your eyes. So with crazy eyes, I'm coming here trying to do work, and of course you can't focus on anything. They're still a little fuzzy. But I went ahead and set up the paint booth and tested the compressor. This is where things got a little weird. Everything's working. Unfortunately, even though this can handle 2 guns, and they send you one for a Badger, an Aztec, and Apache, I have an Iwata. But the Iwata was set up to work on a Badger system, so no problem, except that I only have that one Badger adapter. So I'm going to have to get another one to put them both in at the same time. And, oh well, not a big deal. At least I know exactly what I need. And it should be pretty easy to get. But the thing works great. Here's some footage of me using it. Now, the problem I had was with the actual Patriot 105. And I stripped this thing again, didn't spill anything today, and it's finally aired out, gassed out in here so I can breathe. But the great thing is that the spray gun did work, the airbrush did work, but it was very problematic. But I got some test shots in. I took that Lindbergh Stuka and primed it with some green. And then I grabbed the Rodin DC7, and partly so the green would show a little better, but I also wanted to prime it. And since it's gray and the surfacer's gray, I figured, you know what, I'll spray a little green on here, let it harden, see how it's doing. And of course, that fan did a great job of pulling everything out. I couldn't even smell the paint. And the nice thing about this particular type of unit is if you want to get another one, you can put them side by side, pull out the middle wall, and you get a double wide in case you have something like this 148 scale B29 that's too big for the one unit. And Barry sent me this B29 fuselage. He wasn't using it, and I knew he zinc chromated the interior. I didn't realize he'd done some really nice metal work on the tail as well. So everything's working. The stuff is great. And one of the best things is that because of this little fluted end that's made to hang out a window or crack a door, I can keep the air conditioner running without it all racing out. I mean, yeah, the door's cracked 1.5 inches, but that's okay. It still works. And of course, I had to turn it off to do the video, which is why I'm already sweating, because Florida. And I've got it on this little dolly with wheels, so all I can do is just move it aside a little bit. It's really convenient. Now I moved my big paint tray out of the way of the door over here, so that now the paints might be a little more difficult to get to or pick them, but they're out of the way, creating a lot more space. That's where the paint booth is at. It's right by the door, where all I do is stick that thing out the door, flip the switch, and boom, we're in business. Back to the airbrush. I stripped it and cleaned it so many times, and when I started doing the Stuka, it was working okay, or the ME262, it was doing okay, but by the time I decided to put a little squirt on the DC7, it started getting a little funny and acting like, man, I was sure I thinned that paint right. Probably didn't. I know I stirred it and had it mixed, but it was probably just a little too thick. But the gun was still having problems, and I mean everything's clean. And I stripped it all down again, but this time without dropping any parts. And I'm just looking at it and going, everything individually seems to work. Everything's clean. What's going on? Now I did find that where I'd mounted the nose piece, there was a little paint coming out, so it wasn't quite air sealed. So the little O-ring washer that I think originally came with it's long since been gone. So I put some sealant in there, and that worked fine. Beeswax is something that a lot of the airbrush guys use, and it works great to seal it up without it did a great job. So they're going, okay, what's wrong? And then I realized one thing had kind of stood out to me. The little press down mechanism was bent just a tiny bit, and I thought, well, I'll turn it around the other way since it's got a slight, it didn't make any difference, but the piece behind it, the curved piece that actually rocks back, what would happen is I would go back and the trigger would stay in the rear, and you have to get a tap, and then it would jump forward. And I realized that, this unit doesn't look quite as curved as it does in the photograph. And I was thinking, I wonder if over time I've managed to bend it or maybe something happened to it. So I took some needle nose and just gave it, just bent a little curve into it, got that half moon shape, put it back in, all of a sudden, working fine. So after all that trouble, the problem was diagnosed. So that was not, I don't think that was anything you were going to find on YouTube or on a website. It was so off the wall that this little curved T-piece, it just lost enough of its curve that when it went back, it would just sort of lock to the rear and it wouldn't slide. And once you give it a little tap, it would go forward. But now it's got the smooth, it has to have, just like the wing of an airplane, it's got to have a smooth camber. But anyway, I look forward to getting that other Badger adapter so I can hook up the Iwata gun, the big one, and that's to the compressor. And this is going to make painting models so much nicer. And another nice thing is that when I did clean the brush, I set the stuff with the paint booth still going. I set all the stuff down there while I was working on it, and of course it was venting out, so it wasn't nearly as fumigatory as it would be anyway normally. So anyway, guys, that's what I got for tonight. I'm pooped and I'm still not seeing straight. Got some new glasses coming, that'll probably help out. Well, take care of yourselves, everybody. Thanks for everything. Hope you're having a wonderful evening, and as always, model on. Okay, here we go, the initial test shots. I've got a kit in here in the paint booth, and you can't hear it, but the compressor's going right there because it fills the tank and stops. And let's do a quick test shot. So I got this cloth hanging here, this little Now the hose is vented out the door, so, and I've got this on wheels so I can move it. Comes with a little lazy Susan, which you can just move wherever you want it. The compressor just kicked on. it's advertised. Now a lot of people said you can put something over the Lazy Susan and seal up these cracks if you want, which I will probably do. It's just a quick test shot to see it work. I would hook up both of them, my spray guns, but unfortunately, although it comes with 3 adapters, an Aztec, a Apache, and a Badger, both of my spray guns, although one of them's in a wad, it has a bottom end off, hooked up for an old Badger system. So I have to get another one of these Badgers. I already checked it, it works for both spray guns. This one's working a little bit better. I stripped it, cleaned it. It's still hanging up a little bit, but it's working now. But that's nice. Nothing's coming back at me. It's all going that way and then out the door. This is that Lindbergh ME262 that came with the Stuka, and it's in a actually this green is very similar to the green that's on it. I'm just using it sort of as a primer base coat, and this is going to be part of planning for this to be part of a diorama for when we get around to the kit bash. And I'm not going to build it completely because I'm going to make it like a derelict at the end of the war. Now, one of the nice things about this type of, there it is kicked on again. One of the nice things about this kind of paint booth is that you can get a second one, take the side down and mate them and get a long one. So when you have really big projects like this B29 that won't fit in here, you can get it, you can literally make it a double wide if you want to. Let me, hold on just a second. Let me see if there's something else I can paint that will show a little better on. Because this green is actually very similar to this is an acryl, diluted acryl. This is very similar to the actual color that was on it. I should have something around here I can blast. This is the Rodin DC-7. It's, I'm going to do it with the Ukraine build. Let's just shoot a couple of little spots here. I think I'm running out of paint now. Very slowly. Now this is paintbrush cleaner in here. I'm just shooting this to clean out the brush. It seems clogged again. This is an old Badger 105 and it's got some issues. It's working now.